Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I am presenting the research headed by Professor Gulnar Nadirova, which is made under the grant of the Ministry of Science and Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan. And we are focusing on the impact of ethnic Kazakh students on the educational space of Kazakhstan. Actually, this paper is aimed to analyze how the ethnic Kazakh migrants coming to study in the higher educational system of Kazakhstan, how are they adapting in Kazakh society? What kind of identity then they have? And do they satisfied with their current status and financial situation and so on? Actually, talking about the prehistory of Kazakh diaspora forming outside Kazakhstan, it is important to say that during the period of Tsarist Russia and the USSR, Kazakhs emigrated from the territory of the Kazakh steppe to China. Then the migration flow went through the other countries as Mongolia, Turkmenistan, Turkey, Kyrgyzstan, Iran, and other countries. Nowadays, the number of ethnic Kazakh abroad form more than 4 million people. Most of them live in China and Uzbekistan. The other part live in Russian Federation. Nowadays, after the Soviet Union collapsed, Kazakh government created a program for calling their brothers and sisters, ethnic Kazakhs from abroad, to get the Kazakh citizenship, for coming back to their homeland. And according to the statistics of the Ministry of Economy, the number of so-called Kandastars, which means it is an official term and the plural form of the describing ethnic Kazakhs, repatriates, which means blood brothers, and it is used officially in Kazakhstan now. So the number of Kazakhstan last year, the biggest number came from more than 50% came from China. The second place again, the Uzbekistan, and the number of Kandastars came from other countries, according to the statistical survey on February current year, is more than 1 million people. So as, for example, Israel and Germany and other countries, Kazakhstan is providing its policy on supporting ethnic Kazakhs migrants from abroad. They give the different types of quota for educational grants. They for example, now the number of educational grants for ethnic Kazakhs grow from 2% for 4%. It is about 2,000 grants last year, and half of it was given for that kind of foundation courses at the university. So since in our project, we are focusing on higher education, now in this paper, it was important for us to understand how this educational process worked on with this ethnic Kazakhs and repatriates, how it affected their social adaptation, and how are those Kandastars satisfied with this education or current financial status. So coming to the age and status of Kandastar, it is worth noting that we are focusing on the people who get higher education in Kazakhstan, and more than half of this person now are at the working age. They're in the process of making their career, getting the different working position in different spheres of the economy of Kazakhstan. Theoretically, we used the main idea and motivation and some kind of reason for the migration, which is based on three ideas. The first of one is preservation. So it is some kind of security and social issue, which is very important for saving the nation, saving the national identity, and so on. The second reason is self-development. So it means that migrants are focusing on getting higher education, new knowledge and skills. The third is materialistic motivation, which is promoting more focusing on financial well-being and productivity. On the methodology, we are using quantitative research methods, and we use the semi-structured Sorry, can you hear me? We conducted interview with 15 Kandastars who graduated from the universities in Kazakhstan and now currently permanently became a resident of Kazakhstan or living in Kazakhstan. So focusing on this interview, we found out that the theory of values and this identity is very relevant to the issue of the adaptation of Kandastar in Kazakh society and the integration with the local community. The interview questions were divided for two main blocks. The first is about some data and statistics on Kandastars, their age, gender, and so on. The second block is reasons for motivation for the emigration to Kazakhstan. The third is problems of the process of adaptation. And the fourth and the last is satisfaction or dissatisfaction with the migration results and outcomes. Talking about the interview, we have found out that most part of the citizens coming from China, and the other part is from Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. Also, we had migrants from Turkey, Mongolia, and Russian Federation. We interviewed persons from 17 for 47 years, and most of them are also still at the working age. This is a table of the demographic indicators of this Kandastar. And talking about the reasons of migration, it is important to note that most of all, they value the non-economic reasons for the migration. For example, the migrants from the People's Republic of China, they note that the economic and financial situation in China were higher than, for example, in Kazakhstan, and they had some good status there, but nevertheless, they decided to come to Kazakhstan to save their identity. So they noted that they faced some kind of discrimination as a minority in this like big country and nation. the other people, for example, mostly from Mongolia, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan, comparing the economic situation in Kazakhstan and these countries, noted that their economic and social conditions here in Kazakhstan became better than in their country of origin. So during the interview, majority of respondents noted that self-development, self-education was the main reason of the immigration. So among these 15%, 9 indicated the self-motivation, self-development reason as a reason of immigration. Since this Kazakhstan educational program for migrants include not these foundation courses and quota and grants at the higher education system, it was really attractive for ethnic Kazakhs and migrants from abroad to get higher education. In Kazakhstan, for example, in China, it is much more harder to get a higher education. For minorities, the level of competitive, for example, courses and contests to get a higher education is very high. The rest respondents also were divided into 2 groups. The first is more focused on values of self-preservation and stability and saving so-called the ethnic identity. For example, one of the respondents, he said that having a good and stable situation in the society in the country of origin, his parents had to sacrifice the position, the status, the career in the country of origin, but they came to Kazakhstan, and it was made for saving the identity of the next generation of their family, because the policy of education and saving the minorities' languages in the country of their origin become more governmental, more common, and they had no free space and free room for developing their own cultural and language identity. The second group also pointed that it is under the motivations reasons, the point is self-development and self-improvement. So they saw a more advantageable educational situation for ethnic migrants, Kazakhs in Kazakhstan, than in the country of origin. Going and talking about the adaptation periods, the majority of respondents indicated also the process of perception by the local community as a hard process. Some respondents and noted that they were perceived as strangers or people who came from outside, and also as the repatriates came from non-post-Soviet countries, as for example, Mongolia, Turkey, China. They faced a very big language problem, since Kazakhstan is a post-Soviet country still using Russian language in its society, educational system, and it was a big challenge for them to the lack of Russian language knowledge. And the second problem of adaptation, one of the main problems they face here in Kazakh society, is the exhausting bureaucratic procedures in getting the documents, getting the visas, the status of Kandastars, and then getting the Kazakh citizenship and so on. So these main reasons which made them feel discrimination in different levels, in high or very low level, and many many migrants answered that they still have the contacts with the country of origin since they have relatives, sometimes parents there, and it made them to feel, for example, some kind of two motherlands identity or hybrid identification. So the country of origin, for example, China, where they grew up, studied at school, at the kindergarten, speaking Chinese language fluently, and so on. So it all made them identify themselves with this hybrid identification. At the same time, in their home, in their families, they speak Kazakh. They try to keep safe this Kazakh identity. And coming to Kazakhstan, they faced here in Kazakhstan not only this Kazakh identity or Kazakh society, or maybe Kazakhstani society, which is also represented by Russian influence, Russian culture, which is also really influenced by the period of the Soviet Union. So the society here was not as traditional as it was in the understanding of their parents and people who migrated China, for example, during the period of the beginning of the 20th century. So 13 out of 15 interviewed Kandastars certainly and extremely emotionally stated that being a Kazakh, a citizen of Kazakhstan, is an important part of their self-education. So 13 of 15 Kandastars answered that they use this Kazakh status as their self-identification. At the same time, the satisfaction block showed us the averagely high level of this career satisfaction and incompletely satisfied position in financial status of interviewed Kandastars. In conclusion, I'd like to say that our research mostly mostly showing the satisfied status of the Kandastars with their in the integration with the local community. In our, for example, survey we made, interview we made questions on, for example, how many friends among the local community do you have? Do you have, for example, contacts only with Kandastars came from your country of origin here? So, and we had very few persons who said that they have no friends or persons, like close persons of communication from the local community. So they integrated with this community, but at the same time, they demonstrate some kind of hybrid identification, which makes them feel a little bit different in this society. And this process of getting education, especially higher education here in Kazakhstan, made them integrate in this society and community, and at the same time go through this process of adaptation, because at the universities they go through the Russian language courses, Kazakh language courses, this bureaucratic and governmental procedures, and they first of all at the first year they for example, if during the first years they feel this discrimination and dislike very strongly, but after, for example, 2 or 3 years, they integrate with the society and associate themselves as a full-fledged Kazakhstani Kazakh or citizen of Kazakhstan. They don't associate, for example, themselves with only Kandastar or diaspora community in Kazakhstan. For example, 8 respondents said that they associate themselves, identify themselves as a full-fledged Kazakh citizens. And this shows the successful process of adaptation, and even if the Kandastar community have their social and physical special characteristics, they a majority of them became the full-fledged member of Kazakh society, and maybe it will be important to support them after graduating the university in constructing their professional way. Thank you. That's all I want to say. Thank you for your attention.